On today's episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Roddy Raban, we are going to delve into a topic that is near and dear to my heart. As we said in the 90s, not social media and I'm going to go there, unrealistic expectations it has put on all of us, even me, and I avoid it like the plague. Today, on Plastic Surgery Uncensored, we are delving into social media and the effects it has on people's expectations of their physical appearance. When I say, Dr. Raban in the tag, I said, avoid it like the plague. I don't avoid it for using it for, inviting people to come to a comedy show. But I mean these whole bikini shots of so-and-so. You know how they do these celebrities on vacation? It is creating a maelstrom of things around it and expectations and let's go. Just take it away, Dr. Raban.
Well, okay, so you don't have to wind me up on this subject because this is something that makes me insane and batty and angry and frustrated and irritable. So let's start out with social media in general. So social media, like every other very powerful tool, nuclear energy is a powerful tool. Bullets are powerful tools. So they do both things. They cut on both edges of the sword. So the obvious benefits of social media, which is what we started with, was it allows connectivity, allows for exposure, it allows for sharing of ideas, it allows for people to feel connected to a larger community when they feel isolated, yada, yada, yada. In the area of plastic surgery, what it did was it allowed people to see what's available. Like, oh my God, I never knew that was available.
These are good.
It allowed people to see other people like them who are so-called regular people doing things that says, oh my God, she's like me. She's a mom in Wyoming. I that looks like me. So it allows them that. And then it kind of gives you courage in a certain way. Now, that's the small sword. The larger and massively more damaging sword is that social media has literally single-handedly destroyed people's sense of self. I mean,
that's a powerful statement.
But it's true because what it's done is it has literally tweaked and altered the way you visualize yourself when you look at yourself in a mirror or in a picture or anything. So let me explain something to you. So in general, there's a concept of self, which is if you lived on an island from the day you were born, never came in contact with another person, and I stuck a mirror in front of you, you wouldn't know from a point of comparison that your nose is large, or your nose is, or your ass is large, or you have a fat gut. You wouldn't know that that's fat relative to what? Large nose relative to what? So our sense of self, by definition, no matter what anyone tells you, is a reflection of what you're like in comparison to people around you. So I'm tall relative to what? To short people. I'm in shape relative to what? Lazy people. You get it? So what social media has done is it's moved the dial. It's moved the dial of what you considered as your norm. And the problem is, if it were real, maybe you'd say, well, civilization has gotten better. People are more in shape. So listen, being a couch potato isn't good enough anymore. But that's not the case. The issue with social media is that it is one big fat lie.
Amen.
Lies,
hey,
lies.
Can I get a witness?
So what's happened is there's three particular elements that have really, why is social media a lie? Why is it that so the reason it's a lie is as follows. Number one, pictures, photos, because these are images. These are images that people are posting. They're being filtered. There's a filter. You can literally put a filter that it completely erases all of your blemishes. In other words, it's that hazy, I look like I'm in the clouds filter. Well, I'm sorry, but an English bulldog looks like a stallion in those filters. It's not realistic. And the thing is, so that's number one. The second issue is people are having like makeup, like full on celebrity, red carpet ready makeup sessions prior to taking having a sip of coffee here, enjoying the day, lost in the moment. My wife and I make fun of this caught in the moment, which is supposed to be like, oh, it's just like
Never.
spontaneous. What about the 27 people that are with you, the makeup crew, the hair makeup?
I saw behind the scenes of Selena Gomez. It's a small army.
Right.
It's an army.
So when you've seen these kind of, actually, what I love more is when people debunk the makeup. You've seen literally young Asian men with makeup turn into beautiful Asian women on YouTube and whatever.
Yes, I have actually seen that.
We know the power of makeup is incredible. And the last and the most dangerous element is Photoshop and Facetune. I mean, my God. You could go from being 5'2", 212 pounds, and as square as a cube to looking like some runway Victoria's Secret model, all with the swift of the technology. So this catfish imagery,
I call it ducky lip.
what it has done is it takes people like my niece, who's 15, who's in high school, who's a young, beautiful, vivacious young girl who's constantly being bombarded with these images, and it's telling her that, oh, my nose is a little pudgy. Why? Because every image is of this perfect Instagram nose. Oh, my hair isn't long enough, because they're all extensions. Oh my God, my lips are not, so on and so forth. So, and mind you, it's not the 15-year-old girl only. It's women, marriages, husbands.
Even the concept of Facetune is kind of indecent. It's kind of an indecent concept to me.
Well, I mean, it's misleading. I have a ton of Instagram models. Dare I use the word model? Because historically, when you were a model, it was a terrible industry, but you were brutally examined, and you would never be the cover of Vogue if you were not perfect. Mm-hmm. Here, you're a model because you take a bunch of selfies, Facetune them, and then post something provocative in a thong, and all of a sudden you got 650,000 followers. So the bottom line is I see a ton of so-called Instagram models, and not a single one of them looks like their image. Nothing. And so if you look like your image, kudos, good for you. And if you don't give the impression that you do, because what you're doing is you're misleading everybody else that this is an attainable aesthetic outcome.
The funny part of this is that this used to be limited to celebrities. Back when we were kids, I mean, I'm older than you, but you would read like these movie star magazines, and you would know that these people would, tape their boobs together and have little hooks on the back of their necks. Like there were things that, quote unquote, celebrities and movie stars did. But now everybody wants in on that sort of unrealistic beauty game. And I can even tell you from being a comedian that you go in a comedy club and the headshot doesn't even look like the comics on stage, and the post, like, they're two different people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's
the common people
I think
now.
That the exposure of plastic surgery, it was initially with the TV programs like Dr. 90210 and Extreme Makeover. I think the exposure has been good. I think the problem is that people have taken advantage of it and it's gone too far. And so what are the things that create why is social media so dangerous? Aside from what I just said to you, which is the images you're looking at don't exist. In other words, you go in and say, oh my God, Dr. Raban, I want what I refer to as the Instagram nose.
That's an Instagram nose.
An Instagram nose is a tiny, perfect button nose that has the tiniest little nostrils, and that no matter whether you smile or not, doesn't move or change. Okay?
That's bizarre.
Okay, but that's what people are asking. In addition to the fact that the images are fake, these are the things that are dangerous about social media. Number one is that people are being affected by what I call the physician celebrity effect. So doctors who may otherwise be poorly trained, not very qualified, because they can do whatever they want with money on social media, will blow up their pages with fake followers and pay influencers. And next thing you know, on social media, they're famous and they're considered highly reputable, when in reality, it's nothing more than a facade.
Hype.
It's hype. But the thing is, hype used to be very difficult. Now with social media, I can tomorrow, with just a little bit of money, I could have 650,000 followers. I can get a bunch of people to say that they love me and Dr. Raban, you're amazing. But we all know that that's a lie.
So they buy their way into the game. They don't actually earn it by being a great doctor with an amazing gallery that's board certified. This is just like, you plunk down enough cash, bam.
So what they do is they bypass traditional methods of getting vetted. There used to be a time that you wouldn't be considered America's best unless you went through extensive training, highly reputable colleagues were, spoke highly of you. And then now you can just literally, there are guys that graduated 2 years ago, that if you went on there and I just showed them to you, you wouldn't be able to tell that this guy hasn't been in practice for 25 years.
Wow.
Because they have such a false presence on social media. And who's monitoring that? Instagram doesn't give a crap.
Nobody's vetting any
So
of
no
that.
one is vetting anything. And if you're just an average person and you don't go past the first layer of investigation, which sadly, a lot of people don't do that anymore, you're going to get caught in the web of social media.
We've talked about it over and over again. It's important. School, years graduated, time in practice.
That stuff's not important anymore. All that matters is that you have 650,000 followers and Snoop Dogg or what's her name?
Cardi B.
Cardi B is the one who, God forbid, of all people, Cardi B is the one that endorses you.
I would run the other way.
The other things that are really interesting is what the social media has done is it's totally minimized surgery. It's literally like there's this new thing called a lip lift. And so like a lip lift used to be a pretty big surgery. Like you're cutting the upper lip, lifting. And now it's kind of like, hey, you want to, like, let's say you wanted to go get your nails done and silk wrap or something. Hey, I'm going to go get a lip lift. It's like a goddamn surgery. But the thing is, because it's so casually discussed, it's wrapped in a really, really, really pretty gift wrapping. You don't realize that inside that is arsenic. That's exactly the same way that little girls and little boys are smoking vape pens because they make it seem so desirable.
Innocuous.
So that's yet another danger. And the last thing that people need to keep in mind is, okay, so I follow so-and-so. I love her post. She's so amazing. Oh my God. Well, so-and-so, AKA the influencer that you're so influenced by, is biased. She gets paid. I get solicited 10 times a week by social media influencers to exchange services where they ask me for free services in exchange that they will promote me. I mean, think about that for a second. So
remember when doctors couldn't even advertise?
It's insane.
There was a time when doctors and lawyers, it was considered unprofessional and déclassé to advertise.
Well, now if you don't advertise, you don't exist. You're not, and now it's a matter of who is more sensational, who is more outlandish, who makes more noise, who is more out of the box. So to me personally, we have a social media presence. We have followers. I think if you go look at our content.
This stuff's very straight up.
Well, what it is what social media was designed for. As a physician, a social media platform, in my opinion, is designed to educate what's possible, what's not, give you information, and give you knowledge. I think that's a really, really good use of social media. It isn't there to sort of coax you into feeling that we're amazing and we're really hot and sensational and hip and we're the hottest thing since Kylie Jenner's lip kit.
Don't get me going. That aggravates me. Like the fact that she is a billionaire giving everyone...
Self-made. Don't forget self-made because nobody helped her. She came from poverty.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like her sisters aren't famous. Her mother... Yeah, no.
Needless to say, I am in general super, super against the way social media is being used and how it's really manipulated and frankly morphed. Distorted the way people see themselves. And the problem with that is, as a plastic surgeon, I spend half of my time trying to undo the effects of social media when people come in and ask for things. And the frustration I have is that I have to spend time with often regular patients telling them, no, that's not possible. And they'll show me images and I'll be like, no, that's not real. And it makes me so frustrated because it's set the bar in a way that can never be achieved.
I call it the pornification of America because all of these women want to look this unrealistic sort of porn star look that it's incredible to me that the average woman now, if she doesn't have, the lips, the boobs, the tiny waist, they don't feel adequate. Normal women don't feel adequate.
Well, listen, it's not just women. It's men and women, young people and old people. It's the effects of social media. And so I guess the take-home message would be just it isn't that, people would think take home message is ban social media. No,
No.
no. The take home message is be incredibly
Go to Walmart and look around.
the take home message is just be incredibly careful, diligent, and mindful when you look at images on social media and you look at yourself and wonder, and make sure you have a good sense of self, because that's really the only thing that matters.
Amen. I'm going to leave it right there. This has been another very, you don't mess around, straight to the gut episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Roddy Raban.